Hey guys, it's hot. I'm working on the Grazer here. I've spent the past couple of days screwing around modifying some aftermarket blades to fit this 52-inch cut deck. And you may have the white branded version of this mower, the Ingersoll version. It doesn't matter. As long as it looks like this, even if it's a different color, as long as it looks like this and it's the 52-inch cut, this video will apply to you. So the problem is that you get one of these mowers used, and it wasn't very expensive to get it, and it works good, but you find out that there's not a lot of parts for them anymore. And so that's why I did the whole playlist on this mower here, so that you had some solutions to keep the thing going instead of buying a new one, because those are expensive. And you can buy new old stock blades for this, you know? I mean, granted, when you buy them, they don't look like this. This one's sacked out, but C44136 is the part number. You can still buy them new old stock from caseingersollparts.com, and I'll put a link down below to that and all sorts of other stuff you can check out if you want. The problem is that you can't get them. The problem is that I don't know how long Case Ingersoll is going to have them. I mean, even if you figure a couple 300 of these mowers still kicking around running with the 52-inch deck, well, at 3 blades a piece, if people start buying blades, I mean, even 2,000 or 3,000 blades will disappear awfully fast. And once they're gone, they're gone. No one's making replacement blades for these mowers. So you have to basically make your own blades. And that's hard to do because they're hardened steel. And so you have to have a little bit of specialized equipment to do it. But if you can get it jigged up on a drill press, you can drill the holes. So the setup here is pretty simple. This is a old blade that got torn up that was in the junk pile. I found it when we were cleaning stuff up. There's a set of these actually. I was prepared to sharpen them and use them if I couldn't get more of these, you know, just something, or if this modification project didn't work, I was prepared to make these old ones work. But all you really need is the center flat portion of your old blades. So they could be worn down and beat all to hell. As long as they're still flat and straight and these holes are good, you can make them work. You'll need this as a guide for your new blade. So the blades that I ordered to modify came from 810 Parts. I'll put a link to them down below. These are the specs, the part number. The big thing you want is that right there, 18 inches long, 2.5 inches wide. I got these particular ones because they were almost a 1/4 inch thick, which is important. The thicker they are, the longer they'll last. They're just a standard / medium lift blade. They're nothing fancy. And they come with a 5/8 center hole from the factory. And so then what you do is you get an inch and 3/8 carbide tip hole saw. You bore you a hole out, okay? Because you can center it up in a drill press with the existing hole, clamp it down. If you just set it on a block of wood, it works fine. And drill that center hole out. And then you need some kind of an apparatus to set the new blade on with the new hole. And you need to set it kind of upside down so that you can put your guide blade on top. And you want to sandwich them together so that they're sort of flush. Now, they're not flush right now because I got shavings all over them. But you get the idea, and then you use this as a guide on these 2 holes to drill the equivalent holes in the blade. And in addition to the carbide hole saw, you'll also need a couple, maybe 2 or 3, cobalt, and I do mean cobalt, drill bits. So what I did was I drilled a 5/16 pilot hole, okay? Then I came back with a 3/8 bit and drilled. Now, ideally what I would do is I drill 25/64, which is slightly over 3/8 of an inch. And that just makes the bolt slide in a little easier. It gives you a bit of leeway if you're off and you're not 100% square. But Tractor Supply, they had 3/8 and that was it. And I was lucky that they had that in cobalt. And 1 bit for each size mentioned here will do all 3 blades. I don't know how long this hole saw will last. This is one of those, in case you didn't see it, this is one of those Diablo blades. Kind of expensive, but it was nice. The biggest reason that was expensive is because we had to buy the special arbor that went with it. Where did I put that damn arbor? It's somewhere. Or the collet, or whatever it's called. Oh, I knocked something off that I shouldn't have. I don't know where that arbor went, but it was a special arbor that had to come with the, that was for the blade. Well, anyway, I'm getting off track. We had to buy the special arbor for the Diablo hole saw there. That was a bit of an expense, but it wasn't bad. Then, of course, Tractor Supply bends you over with everything you buy. This bit here was $28. You get it cheaper at the Home Depot, I'm sure. Just make sure that it's cobalt and it's made to drill like stainless steel and hardened steel. Because mower blades are hardened steel, like spring steel. Think of it as drilling a leaf spring. And you just go slow, use lots of cutting oil. On the hole saw, I found that using vinegar helped a little bit more than cutting oil. This was a thing an old timer had said once, and I overheard it. And it dawned on me while I was doing this, oh hell, I ought to try some vinegar and see if it works. And it does sort of work. You got to use a lot of it, but it keeps the bit cool, and it keeps the filings away. Like I said, it works a little bit better than cutting oil, but cutting oil is a good choice too. On these regular bits, the vinegar doesn't make any difference. The cutting oil is what matters. So, anyway, you just got to get it rigged up somehow or other. This piece of steel here is something I came by. It was in a bucket of stuff the truck repair gave me. And the nice thing about it is that this is 1 3/8. So I was able to set both these blades on top of this. I used these, almost dropped my phone, that would have been bad. I used these soft jaw clamps to squeeze the blades together so that while they were on this, they wouldn't twist. Keep everything lined up, and then yeah, just go slow, plenty of cutting oil, lots of pressure. I noticed that these bits, the more pressure you put on them, the better they wanted to cut. And you couldn't go crazy because you'd stall the drill press out. This poor Harbor Freight drill press has seen better days, but it did the job, and that's all I care about. And so that's kind of the setup, and these are just some random pieces I had laying around. How you set it up may be different, but for drilling out the center here, just get a piece of wood, that's the piece of wood I used, and just set it on your press table and clamp the blade and the wood to the press table once it's all squared up, and you're good to go, you know? And then when you're done, you can just, well, kind of maybe file or use the grinder to smooth this stuff up a little bit, throw it on the mower, and it fits just fine. Now, whether or not I drilled these in the actual center remains to be seen, but they don't hit each other, so that's a plus. And they should go ahead and cut grass just fine. I don't think I bent them trying to figure out how to jig them up and clamping them and whatnot. I was afraid I may have bent them, but I don't think I did. So, oh my gosh, it is really hot. There's some wind, finally. Yesterday we had all the wind. It wasn't so bad. But anyway, that's just kind of how you can fabricate some blades here. And if you don't want to use the blades that I bought from 810, if you don't want those, you want to do something different, as long as they're 18 inches long and 2.5 inches wide, you can make them work somehow or other. Having a center hole is really nice. Some blades out there do not come with a center hole. Do you need the center hole? Yeah, because the way the spindle shaft works here, there's a little boss on it that hole has to go around. And honestly, if you look at it, the hole is a little bit big for that boss. But that's okay. That way, if you're a little bit off, and on these two, I was off, it goes ahead and it fits just fine, and you don't have any problems. But you can't be sloppy, but you don't have to be 100% precise. The table on this thing flexes real bad if you put force on it, so I wasn't 100% square. This stuff is off slightly. There's no way it isn't, but it'll go ahead and mount up just fine, and that's really all that matters. We had a slight clearance issue right here on the deck. You can see it right there. Nothing a little hammer can't fix, but it was strange that happened. I must have hit something with this side and caved in a bit, because it was doing it with the old blades. This isn't a new thing. I haven't run these yet. But all three of these are on here. They look really nice right now because the paint is still on them. That's usually how that works. And they should cut fine. Now, to be clear, I don't expect these blades to last any longer than the factory blades. I'm not saying they're any better quality. I don't think they're any worse quality. And the price to buy these blades and ship them is a little cheaper than Case Ingersoll, if I remember right. But the biggest thing is, like I said earlier, is that I can get/make blades for this mower. That is what matters to me the most, because I do like this. A new mower. This is a 22 horsepower mower, 52-inch cut. zero turn, front cut, and a new mower similar to this is going to be $6,000 at least. It's pretty steep, and for the price of buying the blades and all the bits, plus, well, the time to do it, if you added all that together, yeah, you're out a lot of money, but you'd have to put quite a few blades on this thing. Even if you were buying new bits for every set of blades you modified, you'd have to put quite a few on here before you got to the cost of a new mower. And honestly, this thing runs pretty good, and it doesn't give a lot of problem other than the transmission belt and the arm belt. The arm belt's not such a big deal. I can get that changed in about 5 minutes. But if that transmission belt goes out, and it hasn't yet in a while, but that is still the biggest problem with this thing. Other than that, you know, the engine fires right up, hydrostat runs great, no problems. Good blades on it, all sorts of stuff like that. So I need to go test this. I can't drive the mower one-handed. All right, I lied. I can drive the mower one-handed, but really slow and under controlled circumstances. This is a pretty good spot to test it. We'll see how it does. Oh, well that's new, probably because I turned the camera on. All right, it cut good, and I didn't get any weird vibrations, weird noises. It did as good as it ever has, so it helped that that stuff was short, The real test will be when I go to mow something and it's like a foot tall, and that handles basically heavy brush more often than you would think. Well, it's not heavy brush, it's like big tall grass, Johnson grass, mare's tail, fireweeds, swamp grass. It mows all sorts of stuff, and it just chews it up and spits it right out. You just have to go slow if it gets extra thick, which if it gets over 4 inches tall, you got to slow down. It doesn't have time to grind it and spit it out. But yeah, that was a lot of work. It took a lot of time to figure out how to get stuff jigged up, and figuring out that the cheap bin bits from Tractor Supply do not drill hardened steel very well. Who would have thought? But once I got everything kind of figured out, it didn't do too bad. The only thing that may have suffered a little bit was a drill press right there. And I mentioned that this was Harbor Freight, and it's not just Harbor Freight. I know, oh, it doesn't say that there on a tag. Well, this is how old it is, okay? And this came from my grandpa's shop, and I asked him if this worked. I was going to use it at his shop to drill these blades, and he's like, oh yeah, hell, it works. You just will take it. I don't need it anymore. And so Dad and I were like, well, okay. So we hauled it over here, and it did all right. But he said it was Harbor Freight, and it's old Harbor Freight. I think recently they have improved the quality of their products a bit. I don't know that this drill press would last very long if I was using it for this all the time, but it did the job, and that's all that matters. So anyway, I think that'll do it for this video. Again, I'd meant to make it more entertaining, but that's just not how it worked out. So I'll put links and stuff down below so that you know what part numbers and all that to look for, and any corrections that I need to issue will be in the description as well, so check that out. And then if you got a better way to drill hardened steel than how I half-assed described doing it, feel free to leave a comment, because somebody's going to click on this and they don't know what they're doing, and they're going to take my advice, and that's awfully dangerous. So if there's a proper way, somebody better say something, because I sure as hell don't know what it is. So all that being said, I appreciate you guys stopping by. Good luck with your Grazer mower blade fabrication, or you can, cop out and just go buy the blades. As long as they've got them, you just as well. I mean, it wouldn't hurt. But yeah, so I will get off of here. Again, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. We will see you in the next one.